Everyone, I'm author illustrator Kaz Windness, and this is my friend.
Stan Yan.
Yay!
I'm also
So,
author and illustrator.
oh, yes, of course, a very good one at that. So we're here today to talk about my new book. This is called Worm and Butterfly Are Friends Always. And you might remember the first story, which is Worm and Caterpillar Are Friends, in which one of these characters goes through a big change. Can you guess which one? I don't want to give anything away, but so this is the follow-up story, and we have some questions that Boulder Bookstore has shared with us, and we're going to answer them today.
All right, shall we start?
Yeah, let's start.
All right. Well, just can you give us a brief synopsis of your book?
So, in Worm and Butterfly, Worm is getting ready for winter. Worms do something called estivate, in which they go down to the ground and they get in kind of a slimy shell that keeps them warm and safe, and they go to sleep. They sleep through the winter. But what do butterflies do? Do you know?
Um, I think they fly south, right?
Well, monarchs do. Monarchs migrate, in particular. So Butterfly is ready to fly to Mexico. So both of these characters want different things. And we're going to read a little bit from the story, so it'll give you an idea of what might happen later in the story. We do have a new character that shows up.
All right. And what inspired you to write this book?
So, it's mostly because there was a demand for more stories for Worm and Butterfly after the first book was on a lot of Best Book of the Year lists. It also won a Theodore Seuss Geisel honor at ALA, which is a big library conference. And so, my publisher reached out and said, "Do you have more ideas? Do you have more stories for these characters?" And I had a story that came to me right away, and I got it down on paper, and so that's where the second story came from.
I'm so glad they did.
Me too, me too. It's so fun, and there's more surprises at the end of the book. So,
Ooh.
yeah, maybe more than one new character.
So how did you decide on how worm and butterfly would look in your
Oh,
illustrations?
that's a very good question. So let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see a little bit, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about my art process now. So this is
Okay.
actually the first drawing that I ever did of Worm and Caterpillar. And a lot of my book ideas start as a one-panel comic. So in this one, Worm is saying, "You were perfect, never change." And Caterpillar is saying, "Let's grow together." And of course, everybody knows that caterpillars go through a change. So that set up the story problem, which made me ask the question, like, what if this was a friendship and how would they navigate the changes of that friendship? So, of course, that's not how those characters look now. A lot of what I do involves looking at a lot of other inspiration. I'm really inspired by other authors and illustrators, kind of getting a feel for how other people have drawn butterflies and worms and things like and hot dogs, which kind of looks like a worm, I guess. And just I gather reference from from all over. And this is ultimately how Worm and Caterpillar looked. And also my publisher came in and said, "Hey, can you make them look a little more different? And can you put, maybe some little hairs on the back of Caterpillar and just little touches, color changes so we can." Yes, they look alike, but they're also distinct. And, just experimenting with different media, different brushes. So, this was a leaky ink quill brush and also a watercolor brush. And I really wanted something that had that children's book feel, but also had a real comics feel because this is the first time that I have worked in the comics format. So if we want to talk a little bit how I do the artwork, of course, there was already a first book happening. So I definitely wanted to stay in the style of that first book. But something I always do is I do little thumbnail sketches of the entire book. It's called a dummy book, just to figure out what happens on each page, where the text is going to be. And I always do a color story as well, just so I know that the colors that I'm going to be painting feel a lot like what the emotion of the story is. So, in this one you can see that it's late fall and then it becomes winter and then there's the sadness of separation and then we get into actual snowy winter and engagement with that new character. But I keep track of it all on a slide deck just because it's hard to, know what's happening when you're doing such a big project. And you, as a graphic novelist, know more than anybody keeping track of character consistency and, the color palettes and what's happening because as you're drawing and painting things, like you're growing and changing and you're a little bit of a different person. Your hands working a little different every single day. So, this is how I keep track of what all that is. And through development and getting feedback from my publishers and also my amazing critique group, which Stan here is part of, then we develop it into final artwork. And then eventually we have an actual finished book that looks kind of like
Woo.
this.
I love the palette shift.
Oh,
So
thank you so
to
much.
reflect the change in the seasons.
Yeah, well, and I also really want it to look similar to the first book, so they look like they really belong together. But I also really want to explore a different color, and teal and magenta are my most favorite colors of all time. You'll probably see them in pretty much all of my books. I kind of just gravitate, even though I'm trying not to do teal and magenta, I go to teal and magenta.
All right, let's see here. What lessons would you hope kids walk away with after reading your book?
It's funny when we talk about lessons because I think more in terms of like themes and exploring human experiences. Like most all of my books have animals in them because I really like drawing animals. I also think there's kind of this neutrality that you can kind of step into an anthropomorphic animal from any, sort of person and get into the real human emotion, even though it's a worm and even though it's a caterpillar. So for me, friendship is a theme that you'll find in most of my books because it's something I've struggled with my whole life, desperately wanting friends and not knowing how to make friends. So this is a friendship story. And because we are meeting a new character that we have stereotyped as dangerous, you'll see, we'll read it. But, not all birds eat worms. So I guess the theme, if I wanted
A
kids,
spoiler alert,
what's
the new
that?
character, spoiler alert,
Yeah,
the new
spoiler.
character is a bird.
It's okay. There's still fun things to explore. Um, But I was just thinking about prejudices and how we assume, same thing with spiders. Like we assume that spiders are all dangerous and should be smashed, and it's simply not the case. Most spiders and bats and all these birds, they're beneficial. And if you just learned more about them, then you wouldn't see them as dangerous. And that's something that Worm has to confront because in book one, both Worm and Butterfly are very afraid of birds, and realistically so. But in the second one, I'm like, what if there was a bird that was not a worm eater and most don't eat worms? And how do they overcome their prejudice about someone that they thought was dangerous when actually they are a good friend? Yeah, so
Yeah.
that I hope is the takeaway.
Okay. And we already talked a little bit about your illustration process. Did we want to go over that anymore?
I think you've seen enough, right? Enough of
Um,
that.
so what are a couple of books that you've read recently that you've really loved?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So, I don't know if you've all read the Cartoonist, the Cartoonist Club,
I have.
by Raina Telgemeier and Scott McCloud. This is wonderful and it's a great story. And it also gives you a lot of good information on how, if you want to make your own comics, some different ways of doing that. Which was, of course, important to me now that I'm working in the graphic novel format. I'm working on my two regular length graphic novels right now, Time Traveling Chickens Back to the Future and Time Traveling Chickens Nugget and Tender's Excellent Adventure. So I really loved this book. And then there was another book that I wanted to mention that is my new most favorite book. I'm pretty sure this is going to become a classic. So this is The Many Misfortunes of Eugenia Wang, and it's by this really awesome author illustrator, Stan Yan right here. And look at the
Some
spot gloss
schmuck.
on that. Wow, you have that as your background. So you definitely should take a look at this one. And if you're around at Boulder Bookstore, there are signed copies there. Both Stan and I, Boulder Bookstore is our home base. So definitely go check this one out.
Yep. Make sure to keep
Yeah.
me on the top 10 sellers list up there.
Woo! And deservedly so. This one, you got to have it. And there's a lot more coming from Stan Yan as well. Yeah.
Yep. You just have to be patient.
Yes, graphic novels take a long time. So it might only take the readers a few minutes to read, but it takes 2, 3 more years for the authors and illustrators to produce them, but well worth it. So check out this one. And would you like to read part of the story with me, Stan?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, awesome. Let me pull up
The
this
bigger
one.
question is, did you want me to?
I would love it. Are you want to be do you want to be a worm or butterfly? You want to be worm?
I want to be Worm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
He's kind of like my character type anyway.
I can see it. I can see the worm in you. And I have a little bit of a butterfly action
You
going on,
do,
so
yes. You're very colorful.
thank you. Hello, worm.
Hello, butterfly. We are friends
Yes, worm. Best friends.
because best friends stick together.
You are pretty sticky, worm. Did you feel that?
Yes, it is time.
Time to
Sleep.
fly. Sleep in the cold?
I made a warm nest.
That is a nice nest. I made a map.
A map?
Yes, to Mexico.
Who is Mexico?
Mexico is a place, worm, a warm place.
But I am a warm place. You can even wear me.
A
Pop!
skin scarf?
That is an egg.
You laid an egg?
I suppose I did.
I do not need an egg. I need to fly.
We need different things. But I need you, butterfly.
Do not worry, worm. I will come back when it is warm. Goodbye, worm.
Goodbye, butterfly. I am lonely.
And then we see Worm tossing and turning in a scene that is becoming colder and colder. Chop, chop, chop.
Butterfly, you came back?
So this is the cliffhanger. And you will have to read Worm and Butterfly are friends always to find out what happens. And you can head on over to Boulder Bookstore or order online to get signed and personalized copies. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And happy reading!